With Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Megan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
In my life every day. These gentlemen right here. Thank you for all the excitement walking in. Thank you. Welcome.
So Whoopi is still out getting better, and a lot of people were disappointed that she didn't show up as the surprise host of the Oscars last night. No. We miss you, Whoopi. I hope you're watching, and can't wait for you to get back here. But my question to the panel is, how do you think they did without a host? To me, it seems weird.
Yeah,
although I was asleep most of it.
Yeah. I mean, it was I think the second lowest rated Oscars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I needed a host. Okay, it's like a Hollywood. These are Hollywood people, so they know how to produce. I wanted a production. I wanted more of what was his name that came? It was Keegan-Michael Key that came from the ceiling and came down. I wanted that. I wanted more Melissa McCarthy in the big costume with the animals attached to it.
But I wanted more. Wanted more of that?
I wanted more. I wanted pomp and circumstance. I wanted more Maya Rudolph, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler. Yeah. Like I wanted production. Because remember when Whoopi came out with that Queen Elizabeth big costume? Like give me production and pomp and circumstance.
Or when Sally Fields came flying in.
Yeah.
So
Hollywood.
I actually didn't even notice many times there wasn't a host.
What?
Yeah, I always fall asleep through the award shows. Yeah. I know this is probably not the popular point of view, but I kind of like to know hosts. And I wouldn't be surprised if other award shows end up going that route because they realize it's a lot of work. A lot of people don't want to do it because it doesn't always help their career. Although, everyone knows I love Melissa McCarthy too. If she were to host, I would be all over that one. But
how about dance numbers? How about dance numbers?
No, we don't need dance numbers.
Right? Like dancing, like Billy Crystal superimposing himself into movies.
I don't like dance numbers.
Joy!
I don't want dance numbers, no.
Yeah. What did you think, Meg?
I fell asleep too, and I asked permission to say that on air because I don't know what is socially acceptable. I did fall asleep.
Because you didn't have a dance number.
Well, I will say I loved Adam Lambert, and I loved his opening with Queen, and more of that.
Yeah.
Like, more excitement,
energy.
whatever. And I watched. Yeah, that's what I watched. And then I caught a bunch of clips in the morning, and yeah, I'm with you. I think we need a host, and I just, it's okay to be a little controversial. Even some of the clips I saw, with Spike Lee and...
well, let me get to that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I always do this.
That's all right, because let's go to a few standout moments, and then you can weigh in on that, because one performance was so steamy, it fogged up the TV screens around the world. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? Let's watch.
We're far from the shallow now.
It's your face, Sonny.
They need to get a room, these two. Somebody said to me when they asked...
turn your face into a meme, that reaction to that, please, because that's how everyone feels.
I mean, if you are Bradley Cooper's girlfriend, that's how you were looking at it. I mean, that was some good acting for her.
That face. Their chemistry is so hot, it actually scares me.
Oh, please, they're actors. Get over yourself.
I don't feel that way. I actually wanted to leave the room. I was like, they need their own space.
If they were really doing it, they wouldn't be doing it on television.
No,
okay?
That kind of chemistry, you cannot act, Joy.
That would happen to Brad and Angelina too.
Baloney. So many years of watching Hollywood movies, there's plenty of chemistry between Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart.
And a lot of them get married.
What?
A lot of them get married.
Well, first they met and got hot, and then they got married.
See? Look at Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
What about them?
They got married.
They met, and then you saw that kind of stuff, and then...
Well, I have to tell you, I'm uncomfortable with this now because there is a girlfriend involved and there's a child involved on the other, and I love Lady Gaga, but if they are together, just pull the trigger. Everybody seems to think it anyway, so just
and the
be
girlfriend
together
was seated
or
between
don't.
them.
I don't know.
See that?
But I love Lady Gaga, and I love their singing together, and I loved all her outfits. So there you go. I thought
somebody asked Lady Gaga, who are you wearing? And she said, Bradley Cooper. Spike Lee won his first Oscar ever for co-writing Black Klansman, and he used his acceptance speech to make one of the night's most political moments. Watch.
The 2020 presidential election is around the corner. Let's all mobilize. Let's all be on the right side of history. Make the moral choice between love versus hate. Let's do the right thing.
So, needless to say, Trump was not happy with this. He's supposed to be heading to Vietnam, Trump, right now, but he found some executive time to tweet back. This is what he wrote. Be nice if Spike Lee could read his notes when he's doing his racist hit on your president, who has done more for African Americans than almost any other president. Does that include Abraham Lincoln, I wonder?
who emancipated our...
Why was that a racist hit?
Because if the shoe fits... and you think every little remark about you is racist, maybe you are. Look in the mirror.
Yeah, well,
also, I thought that he was... I love Spike Lee, but he was refreshing for a lot of different reasons. His clothes, I like he wore tennis shoes because it's so him. He had a tribute to Prince with his necklace. And I also think art is political. And I'm on the different side than he is politically, but I like people taking time when they have a moment to say, I'm not one of these people that's like, everybody in Hollywood should shut the blank up. I actually think we have a reality show president. He's using his time this way, and I don't understand what the problem is, and I wish the Oscars would and all awards show lean into a little bit. These are tumultuous times, and we're all in a pool that we say controversial things all the time. It's not so bad. Life does go on, and it's okay for people to speak their truth when they get an award.
Well, I enjoy it, too.
And guess what? He did not mention Trump's name.
No. Also, if I had one piece of advice for President Trump, don't go after Spike Lee.
Don't go
That's
after
not going to end well. It's just, that's not going to end well.
No.
I don't think
Google Central Park 5 in case you're wondering if Trump is a racist. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
This week, get ready for one superstar week on The View.
I like it.
First, the coolest power couple alert. Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard hit the table together. Then, Tyler Perry, Natasha Lyonne. And we're closing out the week with a sizzling political view. Presidential candidate Bernie Sanders faces the women. It's all this week on The View on ABC. And the woman profiled in the buzzed-about Netflix documentary, Abducted in Plain Sight, shares how she finally broke free from a relentless pedophile who kidnapped her twice.
Welcome back. So this is Black History Month, so Abby, do your thing.
Yes, Black History Month. So the midterm elections, of course, they showed us how voting really brings power to the people. So today's Black History Month, FYI, honors Thomas Mundy Peterson. He's the first black man in America to vote after the passage of the 15th Amendment back in 1870. He was born the son of a slave in Metuchen, New Jersey, back in 1824. He voted in a special election the day after the amendment was passed. Then he went on to become the first black man to hold elected office and as a delegate to the Republican Party, the Lincoln Party, and as a registered voter, he was also the first black man to ever serve jury duty. Yeah.
That's interesting, you know, because everybody's always trying to get out of jury duty. You know, but
he wanted to do it.
It was important, and we should remember that. Okay, so Robert Kraft, the billionaire owner of the New England Patriots.
Everybody's groaning.
Everybody knows this story. He could be charged as early as today with soliciting prostitution. He was implicated in a sting operation in Florida. Spas and massage parlors suspected of running prostitution and human trafficking rings. So, here you have a billionaire guy who has somebody drive him to these places, you know, and there's a sting operation so people can catch him, you know. It's kind of weird. You'd think he would pull a Schwarzenegger and just have somebody in his house, you know.
I know.
Oh, because that ended well for him too.
He's a billionaire.
What?
And well, I said that ended well for him too.
That did not end well because they had a kid. He might have gotten away with it. But I mean, I'm just saying, to go out there and ask for trouble like that, my theory is that he did that on purpose to get caught. You know, just like, I'm 77 years old and I can still get...
No, they think that they're exempt from the rules. If you are powerful and you have money and you are well known, it's like, this is not going to hit me the way it hits normal people. Yeah. And also these places, they're like, most people don't know about them, or if you go in there, you think they're secretive. And this guy got so unlucky because investigators were filming it for only 5 days. Yeah. And he was caught twice on video during those 5 days. I mean, talk about bad timing. Not that I'm defending any of this, but boy, that's rough.
And apparently there are about 100 people linked to these day spas. And he's been charged, let's see, second-degree misdemeanor, a 2 counts of soliciting someone to commit prostitution. But, you know, a lot of people feel that prostitution is a victimless crime, and it really isn't, because these women have been trafficked, and a lot of them were sleeping in the, you know, massage parlors and in really terrible
Maybe
conditions.
They should legalize prostitution.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is they weren't prostitutes, actually. They were sex trafficking victims.
Yeah, they were sex trafficking.
I actually had interviewed Dennis Hoff, who is the late owner of the Bunny Ranch in Reno, before he had died before, and he had actually sort of changed my opinion on sex workers and prostitution being legalized.
Although they were, I'm not saying that they were prostitutes. They were sex trafficked, but
it's a totally different thing.
He was charged with soliciting someone to commit prostitution. Yes. So that's what they were charged with.
But my thing with this is, if you are Robert Kraft and you're a billionaire, just go to the Bunny Ranch, man, and go to a place where it's legal and it's okay. You lost your wife, you still want to have sex, you don't want to be in a committed relationship. That's what I don't understand in this. Is just it's okay if you want to have sex with a prostitute. Just go to a place where sex workers.
But doesn't he have a young woman, a 39-year-old?
Yeah, a 30-something-year-old girlfriend. But you know,
some men are never happy. I mean, come on.
But there's a bit of hypocrisy here, right? Because the NFL has had these situations where men are abusing women, and they are still allowed to play. And these owners, under the NFL policies, are supposed to be held to a higher standard.
By the way, he was for Colin Kaepernick.
He was.
He's a Trump guy, but he still believes Kaepernick should have the right to kneel.
Have the right to kneel, have the right to play. He would like to see Kaepernick play again. He also visited Meek Mill in prison. So, you know, this is one of the guys that has been very supportive of black players.
And we don't know, they were all sex trafficked, allegedly, I guess.
And he hasn't been charged?
You have a legal note.
Well, my card says he's being charged with 2 counts of soliciting someone to commit prostitution. So we're getting different information. Okay. But I have a legal note. A spokesperson for Kraft has denied that he committed a crime. In a statement, the NFL said their personal conduct policy applies equally to everyone in the NFL and is aware of the ongoing law enforcement matter and will take appropriate action as warranted based on the fact. But to continue my thought, the bottom line is the NFL has been very spotty in terms of how they treat their players. So there's a bit of hypocrisy here. If you have an owner that's supposed to be held to a higher standard and you have players, some have been allowed to play, some have been kicked out of the league. I mean, what is the message,
they need
bottom
to be
line,
more
that they are saying, that they are sending to our women?
Okay, well, yeah. All right, thank you. We'll be right back. Senator Dianne Feinstein may have gotten a glimpse of the future of her party on Friday when she was confronted outside her office by some school kids and young adults from the climate change activist group Sunrise Movement. Take a look.
We are trying to ask you to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
Please. Okay, I'll tell you what. We have our own Green New Deal.
Government is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all for the people.
You know what's interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. Lucia,
any plan that doesn't take bold, transformative action is not going to be what we need.
Well, you know better than I do. So I think one day you should run for the Senate.
Great.
And then you do it your way.
Well, so how did she handle that, do you think? Those kids are really under the voters very soon.
What the hell? I love Dianne Feinstein now. I loved everything about it, and I'm in the minority on this. I really hate when people use children as political props in general. What I thought of, thank you very much, is that there was a kid named Jonathan Crone who spoke at CPAC in 2009, and he was like the new young conservative voice, and he made cable appearances, and later on, as an adult, he said he was naive. He was just saying the stuff he had heard for a long time. He also said, I shouldn't have done that speech. It was a bad idea. Later on, as an adult, and I think children have to be able to grow up and make their own political decisions about what they want. And anyone shaming Dianne Feinstein, she has been doing this 30 years. And if you don't like it, she also said in that, I won by a 1 million vote margin. I don't agree with her politically, but she makes a lot of good points.
She's talking about basically the things you have to go through. But, you know, I would make just one point about this, because years ago during the AIDS crisis, Larry Kramer was on my show. He was the person who did ACT UP and really went after people about AIDS, medical help, etc.
Is he a child?
No, he was a grown-up, Larry Kramer. He's a famous activist. And he was going after Elizabeth Taylor. Now, Elizabeth Taylor was a pro-activist. She was one of the champions in the AIDS crisis, and he was going after her. And I said, why are you picking on her? And he said, because if I go after the antis, nothing gets done. I can at least make a dent when I'm talking to someone on our side. And Dianne Feinstein has an incredible record on climate change. So, yes, go to her. Because if you go to that guy Inhofe, who's holding a snowball and thinks that makes the point about global climate change, you're going to get nothing out of it. And Trump, same thing.
I actually think that kids today know a lot about climate change, and they are the ones that are going to be directly affected by it. My kids know a lot about climate change. They know a lot about recycling, and I think you give them short shrift if you say, you know what, they don't know enough, they should keep their mouths shut. I think my daughter Paloma is 12 years old, and she could give Dianne Feinstein a list of reasons why she should vote.
They're the ones who are going to be effective.
I don't know that they're necessarily being used as props, and I don't like the way that she engaged with them.
I've been on the other end of it, as has Abby, and this is a common cheap trick. Using a kid as a prop, I never like it. I never have.
It did feel very uncomfortable to watch, and that is Dianne Feinstein being herself. There was maybe a more charming way, though, to teach them, like, this is not how government works. And if you want to run for office one day, good for you. You're 7, 8 years old, go for it. Maybe
I feel for the kids, because this is an emergency. We're all going to be underwater before we know it. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So the following study may shock you. According to inside research from dating website OkCupid, no matter how old a man is, he will always be attracted to women in their early 20s. In other news, fish can breathe on the water. So why is this? What comments do you have? Any thoughts on this, ladies?
I was surprised at that. I thought as men got older, they would be attracted to, attracted to women their own age.
That's if they're thinking with their brains, which they don't do. Unfortunately, I think oftentimes it has to do more with the man than the woman they're attracted to. That it makes them feel, if they can get someone in their 20s to be attracted to them, it's like, ooh, I still got it. Like, I can be confident again.
And how many of these girls in the 20s are interested in their saggy ass?
They're not. They're not. It says that women, as women age, the ages of the men they say they're attracted to go up. So
say it again.
As women age, the ages of the men they say they're attracted to go up.
Not me. I always have a young man. I enjoy that. I don't want to know. I do. My husband is 7 years younger. My first husband was 2 weeks younger. I had another boyfriend who was 10 years younger.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm a cougar, baby. Old, I want someone to wheel me around. I'm not wheeling him. Think about it. Think about it.
Yeah. I can't, be too judgmental of this, because my parents were 20 years apart in age. So had my dad not robbed the cradle, I wouldn't be here. So rob away, gentlemen, whatever you want.
How old is Ben? Older than you?
Ben's, younger? He's only like 3 years older than me, so I didn't rob anything. But we have our, outs, the one person you can, be with if you had the opportunity.
The hall pass.
And the hall pass. His is Monica Bellucci, and she's 54.
Oh, the actress.
So,
she's
and obviously my husband's 37, so You know, maybe the stat isn't correct.
That
you
makes
can't
me
blanket
worried.
everyone.
And I asked my husband the same question.
It's the whole past.
No, it like makes me worried now because he said it was Britney Spears in her prime, which is like well below 20.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna have a long chat tonight, actually. So my husband said Britney Spears back in her prime when she was probably 17, like
You know
in
what
that
my problem with that is? Even with this, I'm like, she's not blonde. And with you, she's not a brunette.
That's
like,
true.
Just stay in the lane. Like,
Mine is, he's like Salma Hayek and Halle Berry.
Yeah. Those are good.
Manny likes Salma Hayek.
You did well,
At least they're sort of in the, I'm not pretty like they are, but I'm, one is like, you know,
Yes, you are.
Hispanic, I'm Italian, it's close, isn't it?
It's in there.
Yeah.
Keep Steve
What
close.
about Manny?
Manny likes Salma Hayek.
Hayek, see, she's hot.
she might never come to the show. 'cause you're
She's been here many times. She's adorable. We'll be right back.
It's the red-hot Netflix documentary that you won't believe really happened. The woman who was kidnapped twice by the trusted family friend and pedophile who lived next door shares one of the strangest and scariest true crime stories you've ever heard. Next. Tomorrow, Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard are everyone's favorite Hollywood couple. But do their kids think she's the cool one for playing Anna in Frozen 2? They're live on The View.
How was a child sexual predator able to kidnap the same child twice and get away with it? That's just one of the many unbelievable truths uncovered in the bizarre true crime documentary called Abducted in Plain Sight that has become a big hit on Netflix right now, one of the most watched documentaries on Netflix right now. This is a lot to process, so stay with me here.
Robert Birchtold was a master manipulator who stopped at nothing to get what he wanted, and he wanted 9-year-old Jan Broberg. As soon as he moved next door, the Brobergs were under his spell, and he used his charm to divide and conquer the entire family. He seduced both parents into sexual relationships in order to get to Jan, and was able to abduct her not once, but twice. He brainwashed her into believing she loved him, forced her into marriage at 12 years old, and terrified her into doing whatever he said. After Birchtold's first arrest, he blackmailed Jan's parents by threatening to expose his sexual relationship with both of them unless they signed affidavits saying that they gave Birchtold permission to take Jan. They did, and Robert abducted Jan again. After the FBI apprehended him, a judge ruled that Birchtold had a mental defect and sentenced him to just 6 months in a mental facility. Jan remained under Birchtold's spell until she was 16, when she realized everything he told her was a lie. Robert never paid for his crimes and harassed Jan up until the day he took his own life 30 years later.
Please welcome Jan Broberg. Thank you for being here and sharing your story with us. I told you just a moment ago that I think this is going to change people's lives, so thank you. You grew up in Idaho with your parents and 2 sisters. Robert Birchtold lived in your neighborhood with his wife and children, and he became friends with your entire family. What was your relationship like with him when he first started coming to your home?
Well, we each had a best friend. So his 3 oldest children matched us in age, my sisters and I. His wife was a lovely person. My mom, she did crafts. So we'd go over and, you know, do crafts with their family. We met them at church. And so we attended the same church. And he was just charismatic. He was a community member that had a furniture store. He was the kind of guy that was just helpful, and everybody loved him. I mean, he literally had that kind of charisma. So my relationship with him was he was like a second father to me. You know, that's how it became over the 2.5 years while that grooming and manipulation took place.
And Birchtold, right?
Yes, Birchtold.
He became so close with your parents at some point that they allowed him to spend a lot of time with you, even to sleep in the room with you.
Yeah, so, you know, you go back in time and you look at that and you say, okay, what was the normal? Well, mom, dad, somebody always tucked us in, read us a story, laid by us in bed, you know, we tickled backs. He came with these tapes that he said his psychiatrist was having him listen to because he was trying to overcome some childhood trauma.
trauma of his own. We found out later that the psychiatrist was not a real license. His license had been revoked. So he told my parents, I'm supposed to lay by a child and then listen to these tapes, and it's going to help heal me from my...
They bought it.
But
then he gave you sleeping pills.
Yes, that came later.
And allegedly molested you, even though did you know what was going on?
Not at that time. I don't ever remember being molested at the time, only when I woke up in the back of the moving motorhome and had been kidnapped, was stripped to the bed, and then...
I see. But if you were really under it from the sleeping pills, maybe you didn't know what happened.
That's possible. Yeah. Sure, of course.
Because they claim that he did molest you. The FBI, I believe, said that, right?
Yes, he did.
He abducted you in 1974 when you were just 12. He took you to live in Mexico, where he forced you into marriage and repeatedly had sex with you. This is where he started to brainwash you. I want to remind everyone that you were only 12 years old. What did he tell you?
So when I woke up, here's the setup. You have to think again of how grooming happens. It happens before the actual incident occurs with whether it's a parent, the community, the neighborhood, the congregation. So the grooming has been in place because he would take all of us kids to the science fiction movies. Those were really popular in the early 70s. And then he'd bring over the newspaper clippings where, oh, there's been a UFO sighting in the paper. And he wasn't talking to me directly. He was just talking to mom and dad in the kitchen, and I'm listening and looking at the little white disc on the thing. When I woke up, he was taking me horseback riding. That was his cover story, which we had done before with his oldest son. And when I woke up, I was in the back of a moving motorhome with my wrists and feet strapped to the bed. And there was a tiny, almost speaker-like looking box, like an intercom, maybe a tape recorder, but it was small. And it was playing in this high-pitched, monotone voice, female companion, it is time for your mission to begin. So when people ask me about the brainwashing, I'm like, it took 10 seconds. I'd been led up to that moment where when I then saw him 2 days later covered with blood on the sofa of the motorhome, I thought he had been kidnapped too.
By aliens.
Yes, absolutely. And that we were to have a child to save a dying planet. And you know what's interesting, and you'll find this interesting, Joy, is that when you look at something like that, the story that he told through this alien voice, of course I don't think it's him, right? But it really is the middle of a Mary, Jesus, and Joseph story. Like, I was this special person that was going to have this special child that was going to save the world. My mother was my mother, but my father was not my biological father. I had been fathered by another person from another planet. So that's a story I heard at Christmas time. Yeah, but you know what I mean? And so that's what they do. They take something familiar and they just change it enough so that they can manipulate you, and it's plausible.
But the alien part, Jan, was not something you had been raised with, were you?
Oh, no, not at all. But I'm just saying,
as a 12-year-old, it didn't strike you that way? Were aliens? Nothing?
No, because I had gone to all those science fiction movies. Yeah. There had been the sightings in the paper. You had heard the voices. Right. So all of a sudden that is like...
brainwashed.
And then...
total brainwash.
It made sense. The craziest part of this, and it's all very twisted at the time, but the FBI ultimately found you, and then throughout the next 10 years, he was still having sex with you. You sort of turned on your parents, at least your dad, and then he abducted you again, and you found out that your parents both had a sexual relationship with him at one time.
Right. My father...
Your mom multiple times.
Yeah. My father one time had a masturbation experience with him. And then my mother, yes, there were several times that she met with him. But again, it's the smoke screen that a master manipulator creates.
But when you found that out, though...
Oh, I had my moments of being angry and upset. But I knew they had been groomed and manipulated.
But that was all to get to you.
It was all to get to me.
The sex with your father, the relationship with your mother was so that he could create a smoke screen and inoculate himself from prosecution.
Exactly.
He was always after you.
Always, yes.
Yeah.
And finally, both of my parents saw it. But you know what's not plausible, and why this is such an important story to tell, is that it was not plausible in their minds or my mind that this man would ever hurt me. He was as close as your best friend is today. It would be like your brother-in-law being that guy. Yeah. It's the person that you would sign over your paperwork and say, hey, raise my children if I die. That's what we don't want to look at even now. You know, we had 800,000 reported sexual abuse cases in this country last year. Are we that much smarter? And those were the reported ones. Right. How many more are not reported?
And
statistically, half this room has been abused by someone that they know.
Yeah. But in our
It's rarely
audience,
a stranger.
Rarely a stranger.
In our audience, we have Skye Borgman, who is the documentary filmmaker. Skye, you were able to have her parents admit on camera of their sexual relationship. How did you finally get the family to tell the truth about that on camera?
I mean, I think they were ready to tell their story. I think it was a big burden that they had been carrying, especially Bob. He kept this secret for a long time, and I think he really felt the weight of it. And so when he had the opportunity to tell this piece of the puzzle, which I thought was critical, both the relationships with the parents were critical to knowing how he got into the family. And I think they knew how important it was for the world to know that, to kind of keep their eyes open for it.
Yeah.
Okay, we only have a second left. Did you forgive your parents?
Oh, absolutely. I knew they were groomed.
And you've had a lot of therapy?
I've gone through therapy. I have a wonderful relationship with my parents and my sisters. I'm very lucky. I have a great community. But I think that's the cautionary tale. It's somebody you know, love, and trust, and probably somebody your child knows, loves, and trusts. And it's just not scary strangers.
Thank you
for
very much.
Thank you.
Our thanks to Jan Broberg and Skye Borgman. There is much more to this story, so make sure you check out the documentary, Abducted in Plain Sight, streaming on Netflix now. And a book is coming out later this year, so that'll be interesting too. We'll be right back.
What makes View Your Deal even sweeter? How about free shipping? We've partnered with vendors for at least half off fab finds you're gonna love. Next.
Mondays are always better when you view your deal, but here are 2 words that will really make your day. Free shipping! We partner with vendors for at least half off fabulous finds while supplies last. So let's get shopping with lifestyle guru Greta Monahan.
So excited! Kicking it off, girl, with a Lululemon weekend linen getaway bag. I love this. This is an incredible weekender style. This is TSA carry-on compliant. And how lightweight is that? Weightless, but tons of room inside, including pockets, and all vegan on the handles and the extras, gold tone. Love this. Original on these bags. They come in 6 colors, $98. Not today, Sonny. $39 plus free shipping. Saving 60% off. You are going to freak out at this. You know I love the celeb look. That is 40 locks with the baseball hat. And I'm rocking mine today because you know how you can usually struggle with a baseball hat to get your ponytail through?
You can't get the
Not
pony in.
anymore. I brought this for you. So pony flow. Check it out, you guys. I want to show you. This has a specially designed opening in the back that not only is super flattering, but you can fit your pony through, and a tangle-free Velcro closure. So just set your style, pick up that pony, no more flattening you down, flattering on everyone.
Why didn't I invent this?
I'm telling you, here's another one. I know you want multiple colors. Original price on these, $24 to $30. Today's deal, $12 to $15 with free shipping. 50% off to get the celeb look. All right, I love this. Okay, Ideal Fashions. These are, she's got a big bag. Assorted watches, you're going to want more.
Yeah.
I love to celebrate style with a functional accessory, right? So these are incredible for men, for women. Check it out. You've got gorgeous different faces, small sizes, large sizes.